Suzuki Brezza, the Citybird SUV.
What is Sunrisers' best overseas combination? You've been asked this question so often, haven't you? Has it gotten harder this year to answer?
It has, and in a selection meeting, I would normally ask others. I'd say, Mitch or Wasim, please tell me what your thoughts are.
Is that how you usually do it?
Then I'll respond. I won't sort of say this is what the 11 should be. I'd say, Wasim, what do you think?
Okay, let's go with that.
Top four for me, I think, will be Travis Head at the top, Markram Klaasen, and the captain himself, Pat Cummins.
Now, is that the one that they have to pick or the one that makes the best 11?
Well, you've got to pick the captain, mate. You can't leave the captain out.
Yeah, I think Travis Head is a little questionable because they've got Mayank Agarwal and they've got Abhishek Sharma, who are pretty good players.
So that's what happens if they do play Travis Head at the top, which we expect given they paid good money for him, picked him up at the recent auction. But that means one of Abhishek Sharma, Mayank Agarwal will miss out. We've gone with Abhishek in that team given how good he's been in domestic cricket. Tripathi 3, Markram 4, Klaasen 5, Samad, and then the captain Pat Cummins or Washington Sundar, but the all-rounders in that order, and a largely Indian bowling lineup but for Cummins. Does that work, Tom Moody, or could that be better if Marco Jansen found a place in it?
Yeah, look, I quite like the idea of Marco Jansen in that team, purely because he's one of the reasons Sunrisers won the SAT20 with bat and ball. He was effective. You just need to manage where you bowl him. You can't bowl him at the death, but you can certainly use him with a new ball. He's effective with his steep bounce and swing early on, and he complements Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, I think, superbly with that new ball. So I think it just gives you greater balance and more options having Marco Jansen there. And his batting's gone to another level. A few years ago, he was a bowler that showed promise as a bat. Now he's a genuine all-rounder.
But they have named Cummins captain. You thought he was competing with Cummins, ideally for a spot. That's not the case anymore.
I think he's got to that point where he is competing with Pat Cummins for a spot because he is a genuine all-rounder. And Pat Cummins is coming off a pretty good previous time he was at the IPL, batted superbly. I think Marco's in that same mould. I've just come from ILT20 and you were there as well, and the top wicket taker was Faruqi. So for mine, if you were going to try and fit another bowler in there, I'll be trying to get into Faisal Faruqi because in terms of his accuracy with his swing, he was losing the ball wider the last couple of years, but now he's more accurate and a much better wicket taker. So he's probably your best seam option on the bench.
I'm not even talking about Hasaranga here.
I think.
But I don't think he's with the team yet. But
I feel if Aiden Markram was captain, you would have seen Marco Jansen play. So that's debatable. I mean, now that Pat is there, you might see Travis Head bat at the top of the order.
Okay, all right.
What are you saying that Dan Vittori works for Cricket Australia?
Well, I just feel like Tom said, they Aiden Markram captained that side. They won the SAT20. Marco Jansen played such an important role. So I think it makes a sense to play Marco Jansen.
Okay, what it does mean is if you don't see Jansen play, that they have enough confidence in their all-Indian bowling lineup, but for Pat Cummins. We just have a look at that one more time and just give the verdict on this, Tom, because Umran Malik was a story last year and we've seen very little of him since that IPL. Mayank Markande, Natarajan, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, along with Washington Sundar, who missed a large part of last season due to injury. Is that a good enough bowling lineup without Jansen, you think?
There's a lot of pressure on Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. When I look at that list there, a lot of pressure on him. Now, the spin's okay, because you've got 3 genuine spin options there, because you've obviously got Markram that can bowl spin as well with Washington Sundar and the leg spinner. So you've got all your spin options covered, but to me, there's a few holes in that attack. Is there enough bite with the new ball? Bhuvi is one of the best with the new ball that the IPL's had, but who's supporting him?
Yeah, and Pat Cummins hasn't had great IPL in this format especially. So it's still question mark over Pat Cummins as a bowler in IPL to prove himself.
Okay, Kolkata Knight Riders next up. Let's have a look at that squad. Mitchell Starc's an easy selection in this. Now, would they possibly be a little confused when Phil Salt replaced Jason Roy? Because now they have a genuine keeper option, an overseas keeper option to compete with Rahmanullah Gurbaz. So it'll be one of Gurbaz or Salt is what you think. Andre Russell is firing on all cylinders. For those who missed his recent return to international cricket, he's bowling and he's whacking it, so he will slot in the middle. You think so too will Sunil Narayan. It's an easier overseas contingent to pick, one would think. But Wasim, one question would be Gurbaz or Salt?
I would pick Gurbaz because Salt came in as a replacement. So you will pick your main player, the first one.
I have a feeling it might go the other way with you too. Gurbaz or Salt?
No, I'm actually going to go with Gurbaz as well. Yep, I think Phil Salt's a great player. His form of lates, barring obviously the West Indies series, SAT20 struggled, and I believe he's a form player. So hopefully he gets some good net time over here, gets used to the conditions. But Gurbaz is just, I think he's a quality player and he's aggressive at the top, takes the game on, and that's what they need.
Yeah, while we just look at their proposed 12 as well, Tom, you can weigh in on this too. And also tell us, with Mitchell Starc, it's big signing, returning, but what's the rest of that bowling attack look like? With a lot of Indian players that will have to step up. Harshit Rana's in our proposed 12. Could be Ramandeep Singh in that team. They also have Chetan Sakaria, who was picked up at the option as another left-arm seamer. Suyash Sharma, the leggy, made an impact. They've got a lot of spin. How does that team look?
I think it looks pretty good, and I'd agree with my colleagues here. I'd go Gurbaz as well at the top of the order to begin with, but Salt will be breathing down his neck because he's a very, very dangerous player, as we saw glimpses of last year when he was with Delhi. I think for KKR to be successful this year, they need continuity at the top of the order with their batting. We saw it was like musical chairs last year, particularly in the opening position. So continuity at the top of the order, and what they need is a surface that is going to benefit the spinners because that's their strength with the ball. Forget about Mitchell Starc. Mitchell Starc will be effective on a turning track or a track that offers something, for swing or seam. He's a high quality bowler that relies mostly on ball speed because he can get the ball up there around 150, and if it does swing, he's deadly with that new ball.
Yeah, well, what they need is that what we saw in the World Cup at Kolkata, where it turned a lot, it really stuck in the wicket, and that's what they need. Rather than what they've been pumping out in Kolkata since they changed the wicket, it's been one of the best batting tracks in the whole country. So they need it to play how it played in the semi-final in particular. In the World Cup.
All right. Predictions, KKR or SRH? Wasim?
I would go KKR.
Mitch?
KKR.
SRH.
The heart still beats orange, doesn't it? Thank you, Tom Moody, Mitch McClenaghan, Wasim Jaffer. Should be a good one. Kolkata against Hyderabad Saturday evening. This was our build-up to it on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Timeout.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.